Simple, efficient and well-placed storage can make the difference between an enjoyable time in the workshop or a frustrating time in the workshop. I'm feeling a little frustrated. I built myself a new router table a couple of years ago, took my router out from beside my table saw and put it in its own dedicated cabinet. And here it is, on wheels, so I'm free to move it around the workshop at a moment's notice. There's my router in behind that Perspex sheet, and I've got 4 storage drawers. Now I made the mistake when I built it of saying I'll put a face on the drawer at a later date. I just want to get on now, and as you can see, I've never done that. My biggest mistake was just building the drawers and not planning what I was going to store in the drawers. Are you ready for this? It's nothing short of a nightmare. I've router bits everywhere. In fact, I've doubled up on router bits because I couldn't find the bit that I thought I'd bought before. So here's my idea. It's an idea that I originally saw on a video by the Wood Whisperer, where he made a top full-length slide back drawer to utilize the space at the very top of the drawer that he was working on at the time. And I intend to do exactly the same thing. But in mine, I'm going to make router bits. So I'm going to take a little portion out of the back, and then I have some spare rails, as you do from a previous project. Little overkill on the weight wise, but they're the length I need, because I need this top section to be able to slide right the way back out the way, so I can see everything that's in the drawer. And then the top of this drawer itself, I'm going to use this round bottom router bit, and I'm going to route slots in the top that my bits can sit in, so that when I open that bit out to find a router bit, it's presented to me in its entirety, and I'll be able to see both the length and the width and the shaft size at the same time. That just sounds like a perfect world to me. So I'll get started then, and I'll put on some of that wonderful free music available in the YouTube archives while I listen to Supertramp. Well, that's my drawer altered, and as you can see, confusingly, the drawer sliders go back to front. So I know these drawer sliders, the pair of them, need 25mm, so I intend now to make 2 little side support pieces and then an MDF bottom in between. But I can't fit the side supports until I've routed out all of the slots that I need for my router bits and possibly associated tools. Who knows? So I'm going to cut the MDF first and then get all my router bits out and plan ahead. How unusual. So my collection of router bits is a fairly fluid concept, and it's going to change quite dramatically over time. So to make this specifically for the router bits that I've currently got would be wrong. So what I intend to do is to cut a series of slots in this front row for the larger bits, the template cutters and the single flute and two flute cutters, and then a series of shorter rows back here for the other bits. All of the larger profile cutting bits that I have, I'm probably going to continue to keep in the long pull-out drawer that I've got there, and this I'll use it mainly for, well, actually the bits that I use most of the time. I don't go for the profile bits. I don't seem to need the profile bits that often at the moment, although who knows in future. So the approach I'm going to take is to set the bit in front of the fence X, probably, given the size of the bit, 10 or 15 mil, and then I'll make a series of marks back from the actual slot itself that I want, so that I know each time exactly where to place my rail to get my slots in the right place. As for the depth of the slot, I'm just going to have to sight down through and make sure I start and stop at the right point, because if they're not in line both ways, from an OCD perspective, it's just going to be a nightmare. So during some test cuts to set the height of the bit that I wanted, I didn't put the dust shroud on so that I could see what I was doing. And as you can imagine, the dust it creates is pretty overwhelming, and MDF's horrible. However, as soon as I put the dust shroud on, I can't see the bit, so I can't stop at the appropriate place. However, with the OF 1400, I'm not sure about the 1010, but with the 1400, Festool actually thought to put little centre of bit lines. Well, there's one here, there's not one over there, so that's where the support goes. So what I'm going to do is transfer those stop lines across onto my rail, and then I'll be able to see exactly where to start and stop with the dust shroud in. Cool or what? Well, I think it's cool. as I was stood there routing out 28 million grooves, a thought occurred to me that it would be great if I also had the tools to change the router bits here, close to hand, easy to reach. And I think I've probably got enough grooves for straight bits, 2, 4, 6, 8, 16, 24, 32, 40 straight bits, really. So, change of plan. Most reached for are lock and unlock, change plate, change height. So I need to come up with some way to keep them in place and stop them flying around. After careful consideration, I'm going to take the easy route and pop a little strip of MDF down there so that the tools don't rub up against the router bits, because these tools may change. Actually, I'm hoping to get a new router lift and routers soon. My birthday's coming up, and who knows, a little thing like that may be all wrapped up as a little present for me. Do you think? In which case, the only thing left for me to do is a handle. And here I am with the finished product. And I can see exactly the length of the bit, the width of the bit. I've kept all of these to the 1/2 inch shank bits. I've got all my tools laid out here exactly where I need them. They will move a little bit, but as I said earlier in the video, these tools are almost definitely going to change when I change my rotor lift and rotor in a future vid. Make sure you subscribe, maybe like. And when I went to get to the items underneath in the drawer, that'll push back completely, so I've got full access. So next up, I believe, has got to be the 6mm shaft rotor bits, has it not? As with any storage idea in a workshop, it's purely down to personal preference and what suits you at the time. This suits me for the minute, but could well change, who knows, when I have my next tidy up and move about. Hopefully it will serve as some inspiration for you and your rotor bit storage. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Ta-ra.